Welcome for the continuation of our lesson. We are on evidence number 4, which is comparative anatomy theory. Anatomy is the study of internal structure of an organism. Internal, that means the parts are not exposed, but until you are able to go inner, then you'll be able to get the parts clearly. Back in Form 1 briefly, anatomist, a person who studies the internal structure of an organism. Under comparative anatomy, the theory states that structural similarities confirm that organisms have a common ancestral origin, while anatomical structure showing many differences confirm that organisms are not related. So anatomical structure that shows similarities, that means closeness, means organism closely related. Anatomical structures, after looking at them and showing a lot of difference, confirms that organisms are not related. Under anatomical or comparative anatomy, it gives rise to two types of evolution. The first type is divergent evolution. A second type is convergent evolution. So comparative anatomy gives us two types of evolution: divergent evolution and convergent evolution. What is divergent evolution? Is a type of evolution where one basic structure is modified to give rise to various different forms, enabling to adapt different ecological niche. One basic structure is modified to give rise to various different forms, enabling to adapt different ecological niche. That is as simple as that. Under divergent evolution, it gives us something called homologous structure, because we are comparing structures, and the structures found under divergent evolution is homologous structure. The starting point, what is homologous structure? When somebody asks you what is homologous structure, then in a simple way to remember, you put your hands together as they have done, then move them apart. What is the meaning of that? Putting them together means similar embryonic origin. Organisms of similar embryonic origin. Parting ways means adapted to perform different function. Hands together, then they are parting. That is homologous structure. There are structures of organisms that have a common embryonic origin and are modified to perform different functions. Examples of homologous structure. Example number 1, pentadactyl limbs. Pentadactyl limbs. Penta means 5. When you look at the point where my pointer is touching, there is a 5-digit structure spread apart. Means that this is 5. 5, as I indicate with my finger, you can see it's going the same way with the illustration that is within the book. 5-digit structure of the limbs. Now, this 5-digit structure of the limbs undergo modification in various vertebrates. What are these vertebrates? We have the bat, we have the human being, we have the whale, we have the lizard, we have the horse, we have the mole, and we have the bird. What are those things that are pointed at? These are structures of the vertebrates. I've been mentioning the vertebrates by name. So those structures of the vertebrates have evolved from the 5-digit structure to the structure that we can see. For example, evolved from the 5-digit structure to the wing of the bat. From 5-digit structure to the forelimb of man. 5-digit structure to the forelimb of the lizard, to the forelimb of the horse, to the forelimb of the mole, to the wing of the bird, and to the flipper of the whale. They move from the 5-digit structure to those structures that we can see. That means that they have a common embryonic origin, 5, but then the way they appear, they are looking different from each other, even though they are related from a common ancestral point. They are looking different from each other. What modification, and the modification that they have undergone, of which benefit? The modification the wing of the bat undergo enable it to fly. The modification of the human hand that it has undergone is to enable it to grasp objects. The modification of the forelimb of the lizard is to enable it to walk. The modification of the forelimb of the horse is to enable it to run. That is why the forelimbs of the horse, those are the 5-digit structure, they have been fused together into the hoof to enable this animal to run very fast. This one, the 5-digit structure are looking spread for the mole to be able to dig holes so that they can, because they are naturally, they burrow into the soil. And this, the 5-wing structure, has been modified the wing for it to be able to fly by being spread apart. That is the pentadactyl wing. The other evidence is, that is example number 2, is the beaks of the bird. With the beaks of the bird, we have the birds, and these birds have beaks, and these beaks have been modified differently. We have this bird, that is the olive thrush, for fruit eating. What are the modifications? The beak is long, the beak is narrow, the beak is sharp. The next bird is sunbird. Adaptation, nectar eating, that is what they feed on. Adaptation of the beak, long, narrow, curved, sharp. The next bird is the weaver bird, feeding on grains. Adaptation, short, strong, sharp beak. Next is flamingo, filter feeding. It feeds in water, fish, and the rest of the aquatic animals. Adaptation, broad, curved in the front, and slightly blunt for filter feeding. Next is the eagle. The beak broad, sharp, curved for tearing flesh. The next is open-billed stalk. It feeds on mollusks and fish that is in water. Broad, long, pointed forward for the purpose of getting its food in water. The Hadada ibis, mollusk and fish, long, slightly narrow, and curved. Then we have the fly eater, insect feeding. The mouth, sharp, narrow, pointed. And then lastly we have the marrow stalk, a scavenger, long beak, sharp pointed to be able to feed on carcasses.